What's up, Warcoders? Bayou Boogie here, and in this video, we're going to be going over one of the main features in Warcodes called King of the Hill. So as you can see, I'm in a basic King of the Hill lobby, and so you have different options. So there is in the lower bracket, there's a 6-hour and a full day King of the Hill. The 6-hour will rotate every 6 hours, so you can play 24 hours a day whenever fits your schedule, while the daily King of the Hill lasts, I want to say it's 16 hours or 14 hours. It's from pretty early in the morning. I want to say it starts 6 a.m. my time and ends at midnight. But that's central. It's a little bit different depending on which coast you're on. But anyways, so we're going to go in here. In these lower bracket King of the Hills, you can only hold 2 locations at a time. So we hit join the event. You're going to see all the different people that are playing are up here. You can see the top players. You can see your score, how long is left, the winning pot. And so we're just going to come down and we're going to take a couple of spots real quick. We're not out for anything too exciting today. We're just going to look, what do we have that resists some dark? And, whoops. Here we go. So just like anywhere else, we'll take a few spots. We will get some points. You'll get points both from taking the spot. Oh, we didn't win that one. And holding the spot against opponents. And now when I say holding the spot against opponents, I'm not referring to holding it for the 15 minutes that you need to get the bonus points at the end. I'm just talking about when somebody attacks you and fails. So Inchworm here, he's fighting back pretty heavily. So we're going to grab a lower spot just so I can show you what happens when you can't take an additional spot. Let's see here. All right, so now we're winning in 2 spots. If I go to fight in this spot, and you'll see it pops up. You can only control 2 locations at a time. So these lower spots are great areas for people that prefer a slower game or maybe have a limited roster. You can be very competitive here because you've only got to worry about 2 spots at a time. These rewards that you get if you hold these spots 15 minutes, I tell people don't ever worry about those. You're going to gain more tokens by taking a spot, losing, and then taking that spot again. That's the best way to build tokens, and this is basically my proving that works, because I just play a lot of King of the Hill, and I try not to spend more than I make, and my tokens have been piling up over the last couple months. Now, the other thing people ask a lot is about this winning pot. Some people think if you're the top guy at the end of the night that you get all of those tokens. That's not how it works. The way it works is, and it isn't explained in the screen when you join the lobby, if you read through it right here, the payout at the end of the event is divided between all of them based on the points they accumulate on the leaderboard. So your percentage of the pot is going to be equal to your percentage of points you've made while being active in the event. So don't expect to just log in, put monsters in, and not come back, and at the end of the day get a bunch of tokens. You need to be pretty active in order to get those big payouts. The other thing is right here it talks about brackets. So there are a set of brackets that space people out based on their experience points. If you've checked out the Warcodes beginner guide on the fandom or wiki for Warcodes, I have those brackets listed and kind of what their differences are. And as a good example, we're going to move from the beginner arena here and go to the Masters arena. In the Masters arena, you can hold every spot. So you'll see people taking screenshots showing them holding every single spot in a lobby. That's one of the big differences between the higher level King of the Hill and the lower level King of the Hill is it's just much more active. We're going to talk about builds to use. So rather than me showing you all the builds that I've shown you before, we're going to actually look at our opponent's monsters, because not only can we see builds that are working, but we can also learn a little bit. So we have Empire here. He's playing, and he's decided to go with double radiation attack. Pretty cool. I mean, the only way to get radiation that's not a natural resist is from a Hearthstone or a legendary potion. He also resists radiation, so really for this guy, you've got to resist radiation or have a pretty strong light attacker. He's basically going with the tank build, although he's not using the Aegis Stone, he's using the Eye Stone, so he has a higher accuracy. So this monster will actually be pretty good at taking spots, but it's probably fairly easy to defeat. I'll just grab a radiation resistant monster real fast that's level 5. And, I mean, we'll just hit him with this poor little guy, and yeah, he falls down real quick because, again, that build is built really well to take a spot. It's not going to hold a spot very well. If we go look at what we got here that Bayfighter's got up, we got a Runestone monster. So he's got the D12 times 5 attack. That's because he's using a Battle Runestone, and he's also using the Flare Heart and Large Celestial. So he's got 3 extra dice, and he only loses 2 damage from it. So these guys, they're a little harder to attack with, but they do amazing jobs defending. Aegis Stone is a good part for that as well. Usually, though, people are using a Large Eye in this last spot. Bayfighters decided to go with a Wrath Stone. I think Wrath Stone gets a bad rap. It is not a great item if you're attacking a monster that doesn't have a weakness, but in like PvE content, these Wrath Stones just amp up your damage even more. So if he's attacking somebody weak to fire, he's going to do his base D12 times 5. He's going to do an additional dice because if the opponent's weakness is fire, he gets that. And because of the Wrath Stone, he gets another dice. So just to show you, I'm going to pick a monster of mine that is weak to fire, and it's probably not going to go very well for me. So I'm even going to pick a tankier monster here. It's got 100 hit points, and we're going to see what happens. So I lost, but let's look at why I lost. Look at how many dice he is rolling against me. So I have 100 health, he has 44 health. As a defender, he swings first. I'm at 49 health before my monster has ever even took a swing. He did over 50 damage in one strike. So that's one of the things to look at that Wrath Stone. It's not a terrible item. It's just an item that you need to have more control in order to use properly. Now, if I did want to try to defeat him, I would pick something that has a fire resistance. If it has water as an attack, that's an even bigger bonus. So here's a fire resistant monster with a water attack. Built basically the same, only I'm using the Large Eye over the Wrathstone. And we'll see. Again, these monsters are less reliable attackers, but they're amazing defenders. So I did win that battle. If we look at it, we started off same health. He missed me with his attack, and I gave him the business. I was able to resist some damage back and eventually come out on top. So that's kind of how we can use some of that knowledge from what we're looking at on our opponents to adjust our monsters. Occasionally you'll find something that just keeps beating the snot out of you. So look at that monster and build something to counter it. We'll talk about hunting down specific monsters in my next video, where I'm going to get into some barcodes and different tricks to use there. The other thing we'll talk about real quick is sometimes you get lobbies that are cycling extremely fast and people get overwhelmed. They're like, well, how do I even get in there? The best way, in my opinion, is just watch the monsters that are getting cycled. If they're going that fast, they're usually using the same monsters over and over in different locations. So you can grab your monsters that counter theirs and be just ready to snipe them as they pop up. If it's a very slow lobby, if you're me, I'm going to take over every location, back out, and then I'm going to go to the other lobbies, and I'm going to take all the locations there until somebody decides to come by and fight my monsters. So even on a very slow day, if I take all these spots and nobody's really playing, I'll get a bunch of passive income every 15 minutes just from my monsters sitting around. So those are a couple ways to handle that. The last thing I'm going to talk about is tournaments. So there's a tournament tonight. In these tournaments, we're going to go back to the lower arena for that. Here's our tournament tonight. It'll be set up very similar to this, except for it's all, let's see, it's all lower level monsters. Yes, there's only level 3 and 4 locations, so you got to have level 3 and 4 monsters. If you plan on using them in the tournament, I'd get some equipment on them. And you get a lot of extra points if you can last, but the location gives you bonuses every 2 minutes of 20 times what it takes. So this is one of the few King of the Hill events where defending is actually a big deal. So definitely want to get those monsters ready. There's 2 ways to really handle tournaments, and this works in both these low-level tournaments as well as higher-level tournaments. Even the higher-level tournaments have locations for 3, 4, and level 5 monsters. If you take those lower level locations with well-built monsters, you're more likely to hold out that 2 minutes and get that 20 times bonus than you are in that level 5 location. Tournaments like tonight, it's a little less reliable because everybody's going to be working with those smaller monsters. But I highly recommend if you attack an opponent and you lose to them, don't just keep ramming the same monster against them. Take a moment, think about which monsters you're using, because as you do that, as they're gaining defensive wins, they will actually be getting much larger point growth than you will when you finally beat them. If you have 4 defends in a row and then finally take the spot, they're getting a net gain over you. So take your time, stay calm, and just enjoy seeing what you can do there. It'll be a great tournament to start with. Hope we see you guys tonight. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like, leave me a message, tell me what you want to see on this channel, and as always, we'll see you in the swamp.